Greetings everyone, this is Connor from Dagora TV, and in this video we're talking about Fallout 76. I'd like to say I'm not sharing my opinions in this video, this is just going to be the facts that we've got so far. So if this is your first video and you want to check out my opinions on the Fallout 76 and the Fallout franchise, please check the playlist that's on the video card. So all the information I've tend to have got really is from a collaboration of interviews and also information that people have put on Reddit that I've been seen and confirmed in other areas as well, and also live from the conference itself. I've got it set out in a way that I've kind of seen a guy on Reddit do, and I've decided to kind of go along with that format as well, like adding stuff here and there and, you know, taking other bits of information from everything and putting it into one conformed list. So I've got it into 7 kind of chapters or pieces in a way, so I'll put links in the description with time codes or annotations, and if you want to click on them to kind of jump around to the different points, you're more than welcome to do that. So the ones that we've got is, number 1 is introduction and release timing, then we have the setting, then the game mechanics, the online features, PvE content, PvP content, and then to round it up we've got other, which kind of gives a bit more information about the game. So the Bethesda E3 showcase on Sunday night or Monday morning if you was in Britain, Fallout 76 was given a release date of November 14th, 2018. There's going to be a beta, that's coming soon. There's no date that's been set yet, but if you want access to the beta, you have to pre-order the game. And there's some sites where they're expecting you to pay up front for a pre-order, but I've also seen on Amazon if you pre-order the game, you don't have to pay until release day. So if you want to pre-order it there, try the beta, and if you don't like it, you can then cancel your pre-order. That's something that you can definitely do. And I think on PC it is you have to play through Bethesda Net, but if you're an Xbox owner, you get it first out of the 2 consoles. The little tagline they gave for beta was always break an early test application, so it definitely seems something where they're going to be, you know, testing the servers out, you know, testing the world so it all works together. So expect it to be buggy. You know, it's not a full release of the game, but by all means, there's going to be beta for Bethesda Game Studios game, which you can gain access from pre-orders. Fallout 76 has been defined as an online softcore survival RPG with both PvP and PvE content. Fallout 76 takes place in West Virginia 25 years after the bombs fell. The map is 4 times the size of Fallout 4 with 6 distinct regions of the map that we saw in the image that's been provided through the E3 press showcase and also in the Fallout 76 documentary by Danny O'Dwyer and NoClip. The 6 distinct regions are the Forest, which is where the Fallout 76 is located, which is what the player leaves, the Mire, Toxic Valley, also known as the Fallout subreddit, Savage Divide, Ash Heap, and Cranberry Bog. Each area has its own risk and reward, and it also sounds like the way that Todd Howard was talking and people in the interviews were talking about in the NoClip documentary, that each one is going to have its own level characters. So it's going to be much more of like a level-to-level based area, if you know what I mean. As the player, you are the member of a control vault, Vault 76, and the game begins on Reclamation Day, the day that everyone leaves the vault and is turned into the surface world, and the task of the player is to rebuild the wasteland to bring the world to back to what it was after the bombs were hit. If you're wondering of what the words control vault means, it means that Vault-Tec, on the whole, were a pretty bad company. They were an evil company, and a lot of the vaults that they would use were experimentations, like in the vaults that we experienced in Fallout 4, where we went in there and they wanted to test cryogenically freezing people and testing how that would affect the human brain. There's quests where they'd like throw people into a vault with a live panther and stuff like that and see how they would react and everything. A lot of really weird and messed up tests, but these control vaults, there was about 20 of them I believe, where they were designed to have people go out into the world and rebuild the wasteland shortly after the bombs were hit. Also interesting about the setting as well is that because it's so shortly after the bombs have been hit, they've been saying that we can have much more radiation into the game. So that means much more really very different types of super mutants and different types of environments, because, you know, with the half-life ideology of science, I don't know, it means that, you know, a lot of these things can go crazy and then be able to die out in time for the future Fallout games. VATs do exist in the game and works exactly the same in Fallout 4, but for one difference. Instead of slowing time down when you click the VATs option, they're going in real time, so the enemies are moving around, and I'm going to presume that the percentages are going to change just to whereby the enemy is moving to, but then we're still going to get that percentage chance, but we're going to have to be a lot more quicker with it. It's more of a system that if you're not good at aiming, you can kind of use your guard to be better at VATs, and I presume this is going to be a way of building your perception skill up. Health points and action points appear to be the same as Fallout 4, except with one difference, which is mutations. So like in health points, when in Fallout 4, when you'd have, you'd gain, rads, and you'd gain you gain damage, and you'd kind of shrink your health bar more and more further down. You'd have to take radaways to kind of bring your health back up to what it could be. In Fallout 76, when your health points shrink further and further down, we gain things called mutations, which kind of work like traits in the Fallout 1 and 2, which if you've ever played any of those games. But instead of less of a kind of more visual way, they're kind of more things that they have positives and benefits to you. So you can do like more damage with fists, but you've got less health regeneration or something like that. Even though we're pretty sure we don't have health regeneration because in Fallout 4, but maybe action points regenerate slower, but we get a bigger pool of it or something like that. There'll be a load of different things like that we can kind of expect to kind of add different ways to our character. But these seem to be gained by gaining more radiation poisoning and stuff like that to our character. Basic needs like hunger and thirst are present, and things like being thirsty tend to limit your maximum action points. So this is going to limit things like how far you can sprint and how much you can use in VATs and everything. Enemy players show as red dots on your compass bar after attacking you. When they appear on your compass may be related to perception, distance, time, or some other factors. I presume it's going to be a thing where they show on the compass as being how close they are to you, or maybe if they're crouching and sneaking, maybe when they've let the first shot or something like that. Who knows what that could be? We're going to wait for more information on that. But at the current stage of the game, on the map you can always see where the other players in the game are, which is going to be the most interesting part to see how that kind of works out, because some people are worried that that's going to allow people to hunt people down more easily, but also could mean that you can go and find players to help a lot more easily as well. So it kind of definitely seems it's going to be that way of things. A settlement building is definitely back and in a new way. It's done with the camp device, and camp is a kind of an anagram for construction and assembly mobile platform. If you find flat ground, you can drop the camp, which appears to cost caps, by the way, and then you can build. Caps definitely seem to be something that we're gaining a lot quicker in this game, finding it by, killing players and stuff like that. We definitely seems to be gaining bonuses in that way. You can build settlements wherever you want, and you can move your settlement to wherever you want. You can save them using a blueprint system. So if you want to pack up your settlement using the camp system, you drop down the camp device somewhere else, and then kind of print off this blueprint in the way and put your settlement in a different area. The settlement building interface itself is a bit more streamlined than what we experienced in Fallout 4, but a very similar layout and a very similar in the way that we're actually putting down walls and putting up blocks and things like that. It's going to be very similar in the way that it works out, but a lot more streamlined and seems a lot more open in where we can do it. You can still scrap components to build, so these are things like aluminium, oil gear, screws, some things that will be very similar if you use the building system in Fallout 4. Some items also seem to have higher levels of certain perks as well, which seems to be able to build up as skills or through building up through gaining XP and putting skill points in certain ways. There's also a thing called workshop budgets, which enforce a max number of items that are still around and are able to use inside the base itself. So that means that bases are definitely going to be kind of a bit more restricted in the way that they're built it, and this is probably because the way that you can change them and put them into different game worlds. So when you save the game, the base goes away with you, but then when you load back in, the base comes back. So they don't want huge monolithic towers to kind of just spawn into the game, if you know what I mean. A power armor is back as well in Fallout 76 and still customizable with different paint jobs, which is cool and definitely all well for people to be able to play the game. And judging by what they showed at E3, there's definitely a lot more different variations with the colour types that we can go through, and a lot more customizable with the power armor. The skills for your character is collected through collection cards, and these can be swapped out at any time to give you a different range of skills and abilities and bonuses to your character. And these cards as well can be swapped with other members in your party at any time. Obviously, I presume outside of combat. Combat is probably the only time when you can't change your skills, but if you're just hanging around, looking for your abilities, and you've got a skill that your friend wants, or could really benefit your medic friend or something, you can go and give him, the ability, for that and everything. You can and if someone gets an ability that's good for you, then give it to you, and so on and so forth. So a lot more open system. Fallout 76 will be online only. It is possible to play the game completely solo, but it is not possible to play offline. So that means that the game is going to be shared world. So even when you're playing solo, you're going to be matched with other players. Private worlds will be possibly brought down the line, but it's not likely at launch. In the Fallout 76 making of documentary, which Todd Howard was in, and they talked about, private worlds there, and Danny O'Dwyer said in his narration there's no plans for private servers yet. But then in some interviews, around E3, they're saying that they're on about bringing private servers in, but not at launch. So maybe eventually, when private worlds come out, there is a way to play the game 100% solo. The game will have dedicated servers which are going to be live for years to come. So this is going to be supported by the ideas of cosmetics and DLC, which we're going to talk about later on, of how they're going to support the dedicated servers. Your character is not tied to a single server. You're not going to see a server browser at all in the game. As they say, you're never going to see a server. Once you load in, it's just going to pick one at random. And game sessions will have dozens of other players in there, not hundreds of thousands. That's one thing that Todd Howard said. He said it's the wasteland. It's not an MMO. You're not going to be seeing thousands of players running around this wasteland or anything. The actual amount of players in the game is still undecided, but they said in an interview in the making of Fallout 76 that it's going to be between somewhere 24 and 32. So when they say dozens, don't be doing what I did and just immediately jump to like 70 or 80 players in the world. 24 to 32 is where they're kind of ranging in the minute. If you want to go and join your friends, you've got absolutely the freedom to do that. You can do that whenever you want, and you can bring all your progression and all your base building with you. There's going to be no delays on that. If you want to just go and hop in with your friends, just send the invite out, and it'll put you into a different server. But if you do want to play with your friends, bear in mind that it is a limit of 4 players per squad, whose HP and level you can see at any time in the game. If you saw the little bits of gameplay that have been on the screen throughout this video, you can definitely see the little health and little toolbars that they've got above the characters' heads of the people that you're playing with. The big thing that PvP content has got people worried by is that there is going to be no NPCs in the game. There's still going to be quests, however, there is definitely a main quest line, and quests are given out through terminals and holotapes and robots in the game. Some enemy types that we've seen in the game include super mutants, robots, feral ghouls, deathclaws, snallygasters, scorched beasts, and a megasloth. The kind of enemies that we're fighting, some of the ones that they've seen and made a big emphasis on in the Fallout 76 making of in the E3 press conference, are kind of designed around the legends of West Virginia. So that's kind of the Beast of Grafton, which is like this headless monster, which is what we've seen a few times when you've got a huge amount of differences in what's kind of going around West Virginia and everything, in regards to kind of the mythology of the place. So they've decided to kind of really make those as kind of super mutants, and that's going to be really interesting to fight those. It definitely seems the enemy types that we're fighting against in Fallout 76 is much beyond what we've experienced in any other Fallout game. There is a level system and a perk system for us to level up, which we saw in the collection card that I brought up earlier, and it seems that we get different perks to kind of go into the leveling cards through every level that we go up through. Fallout 76 will be treated as a game as a service model, with endgame content like raids coming down the line. The plan is to be adding the game constantly, and they're not making any commitments to what kind of stuff they're going to be adding to the game, because they say once they figure out what the game is lacking and what people want and what people are playing towards, they will then start adding that to the game. For the first time in a Fallout game, there is PvP content, and every surviving human is a real person. So in other words, that means that there are only other humans in the game are going to be other players. PvP as a whole is still being tweaked in development, but they don't want the game to be griefy in any way, but they do want drama. They made a big emphasis on that they want it to be special when you see other people, so they don't want you bumping into people 24/7, but when you do, you can decide to either to work together, or you can have it all out and fight them and whatnot. As a player, you can decide to do a PvP apparently. They're still balancing the incentives of being aggressive versus ignoring other players, both social and in-game incentives they were describing. And it seems to me that, you can still be hunted down if you decide not to do PvP, if you decide to ignore it. How they're going to balance that, I do not know. They're just saying they're still figuring that out. So we'll see if that comes together when we're able to play the beta. When playing solo, you will still see other players playing the game. You can interact with them, or you can choose to ignore them, which I presume most people will do if they're playing solo. Whether they can still kill you is unknown, but if I'm going to have to make a guess, I'd say it is. But confirmation-wise, if they still want to kill you, it's unknown whether they can or can't. As I said earlier, you get caps for killing other players, and death, more importantly, never means the loss of progression of your character, which is something that a lot of survival games do have, kind of permadeath, and you have to either start again completely from the off. There is an emote wheel for conversations with other players, and this presumably means that, you know, you can just kind of interact. They showed, you know, the thumbs up and everything like they showed in the game for the E3 press conference, but presumably to raid between players is going to be possible as well. The map has multiple, at least 4 nuclear missile sites. Sites are locked behind a set of keys which can be found on creatures in the world and finding out throughout the world in high level zones. And then once you get these, we can then go on and destroy any area of the map and set off these nuclear missiles into any area of the map that you wanted to go onto. Once you obtain all the missile keys for a site, you can set a location for a map and drop a nuke on it. This could be where another player is and, you know, kill them all, or you can do it where you think a big monster is. But then once you've done that, the zone changes forever, you know, and that server. You know, the area of, you know, the plants and the environmental area is going to be changed forever, and we're going to see, you know, the high level plants that are going to be reacting to us, and we're going to have high level mutants there as well, and we're going to get less drops there as well. It's going to be kind of more like we see in the kind of highly nuked area and still kind of very much radioactively active in Fallout 4, and then we're going to be getting a lot of that in the different areas from Fallout 76 where players decide to drop nukes on. They do say rare and valuable resources can still be found in eradicated zones after a nuke has been dropped, along with much tougher monsters and much more high level fights for the player to take part in. Weapon degradation is back in a Fallout game, and this is just another part of survival that we're going to have to keep tabs on to make sure that our weapons are in pristine condition for the fights in the wasteland. Bethesda Game Studios are looking for mods to support the game, but it seems that this is not going to be possible at launch, and they're definitely wanting to be added post-launch. I think they want to get the game working perfectly well and fixed first, and this will most likely come with private servers. So people who are going to be worrying when the game's launched, they can't mod the game from the off. I think it seems when private servers are going to be coming out down the line, mods will be possible then as well, and be able to see what people can create into the world and everything. And it seems that those private servers could be really cool and interesting. There's a whole screenshot and photography system where you can, like a photo mode, where you can pose at depth of field, extend the field of view, photo frames, textures, lighting, all of this, so, you know, people can take and share online, or, you know, put on different subreddits and everything and show what monsters that you fought and everything. Some of the confirmed locations in the game are the Charleston Capitol Building, Camden Park and Woodburn Hall. We saw a few of these in the Fallout 76 E3 press conference and also in the making of Fallout 76 as well. There's a collection edition for the game as well, a collector's edition, where we get a glow-in-the-dark world map, 24 Fallout miniatures, a T-51 power armor helmet with a voice modulator, and also some in-game cosmetic items. So going back to the DLC and updates thing that I said earlier, all DLC and updates will be free, presumably apart from the expansions of the game. So these are going to be, what I'm presuming here is going to be the major expansions they're going to add, but the little updates like the, you know, new raids or something like that, or the new monsters that we're able to fight, and, you know, the cosmetic DLCs and everything are going to be the only thing that we can buy, whereas the whole, you know, like I said, the raids and the big monsters we can fight and new workshops that we can take control of, the little DLC and little updates that are going to be in the game are all going to be free updates, which is definitely going to be really, really cool. So thanks a lot for watching. I'm recording this on the morning of the 13th of June, so if there's any new information while I'm editing in this video, I'll try and add it. You know, I don't know if I can make any more in there or anything, but if the video is already out and I've missed stuff and more information is confirmed, please let it known in the comments below, and I'll favourite your content and put it at the top so people can find out what more information it's in. If this is your first video, please check out my other videos I've got on Bethesda Game Studios. There'll be many videos coming out over the next few months of Fallout 76 following the news of that game all the way up to its release, and obviously there'll probably be gameplay, beta and information as well. So thanks a lot for watching. And definitely check out the other videos I've got on the channel if you're interested in Bethesda Game Studios as a whole. I'm most likely to be going to be following Starfield as well, so check out that information. There's playlists on the channel, so if you want to check out other videos that I've got for speculation of the Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield and the Fallout series, go ahead and check those out. And follow me on Twitter at Degora, where I'll be talking a lot more about this in further detail. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.